Welcome to my weekly video blog. You may not be able to see me clearly, and that's not too important, you know what I look like. And the reason is, usually when you're filming, you have to film opposite the light, okay? So you never have the light behind you, because if you do, you end up looking like a silhouette. So why am I standing in front of the window with the light behind me? Well, I'm doing that quite deliberately this time because I'm trying to show you my new windows. As you know, we have projects each year, and one of the projects that we wanted to do has been to replace the wooden single glazed windows in Markenfield to double glazing and plastic. And the reason that we wanted to do that was not just because it would increase the value of the house, because it's more secure from burglars and things like that, or because the windows might actually open rather than being balanced on these two little peg things. No, the reason we wanted to do it was because ever since I moved in, and the summer of 2012, we've had a lot of water, a lot of rain, and on wooden frames that means if you're not careful, the paint flakes off and the wood rots. And when these wooden frames rot, you start to have problems where you can get windows falling out. In two windows of the house, this window being one of them, the other being the great Markenfield window on the stairs, the wooden frames were so bad that they had actually split at the bottom and at the side, and the whole window pane had dropped, leaving a sort of a tiny gap running all the way across the top, where air was just coming in and out. We had been trying to patch it up with wood filler, but it wasn't working, it wasn't going well. And so eventually we thought, look, we're just going to have to do it, and we're going to have to do it ASAP before the winter and get it done. So that's become the project for this year. I have to say that it's been done very, very quickly. We got the quote the middle of last month, and I was told it would take probably about 4 visits. We've had 2 so far, and the whole lot's pretty much done, except for, I don't know if you can see on here, but there's stripping here. Once you fit the windows and you've glued them basically from the outside, you have to cover up the stripping bits, the bits around the outside, because obviously there's gaps where they fit in. So it's pretty much like putting a ledge in all the way around it. That has to be done on half the windows in the house, but they're all fitted now, they all open and close now, and of course the other thing that I've got, I don't know if I can show you by just sort of sliding you that way a little bit, but can you see that? That is a new front door there, and I have a new back door as well. And it's interesting because certain things have changed. So I have a window in my loo, and it's never been frosted. And I've always thought when I've sat down with my back to the loo, my back to the window, whether people outside can think, oh, he's going to the toilet again. Irrational thought, I know, since it's upstairs, but there we are. Thankfully, the new window for that is frosted. In the same way, the windows that were in the middle of the back door and of the great Markenfield window were not frosted, but they were a special sort of glass where you basically had it sort of, you couldn't see through it clearly. And that's clear glass now, and I suddenly have a view. I have a spectacular view through the great Markenfield window of my pine tree and of the aviary through my back door. So, very, very pleased with that. And also the fact that this chap has basically sort of done it almost every day. I mean, he fitted them on, I think it was Friday. He came back yesterday, Saturday, to do some of the stripping on the back door. Obviously he's not doing Sunday. He says he might do Monday, but probably Tuesday, which is fine because I sort of am off Sunday, Monday, so that's my weekend. I don't sort of expect anybody else to work it either, really. But basically, that will have been everything done within a couple of days. So it's fantastic, it really is. I think it was Fresh Frames of Harrogate that did it, but I could be wrong there. Might have just plugged a completely different company, but there we are. So it opens, this is the best window, because you can move it round like that, and oops, there we are, it's dropped down, which is fine. Or, just shut that again, or because you push the little handle in and you move it all the way around and, ta-da! It's like a fire escape. I could literally step out of there. So there we are. Very pleased with my... And they do also have an additional lock, of which I've got the key as well. So, very happy with that. Very happy indeed. There are a few other things to discuss this week in my weekly blog, but I'm going to sit down for that. And of course we have the birthdays as well. So I also wanted to explain to you in this week's blog that there are a few changes that are going on over the next couple of weeks. As you know, this has been the end of the first full week back at work. I've been back a week and a half now, and I am now putting into place stuff to sort of get me to move further. So for the next week I will continue to travel into work by bus, but I'll be walking home, and this is because if I walk to work I can get quite exhausted, and there's no point in being exhausted and then going into work. Whereas if I walk and then I get home, I can walk as slow as I want and I can be more relaxed. The exception to that rule obviously is Saturday, when I do a Saturday early and it's too early for buses and I have to walk in at that stage. But then of course I can still catch a bus home, and that day is considerably shorter for me than a usual day anyway. The idea is that the week after I will probably start walking both ways again. This is going to depend more on my general fitness, I think, than my ankle, which has held up, and I don't expect there to be any problems with that. This is really about general health now, rather than specifically about the ankle. So I wanted to make that clear to people. That of course will be going from zero back to where we were before the break, in terms of transportation to and from work, back to where we were. And then we can go on from that later. Within this 2-week timescale, I want to also develop proper nutritional meal plans. Now, that's not going to be instantaneous, and there will be a lot more sort of home cooking involved in that. I'm hoping to keep the expenses down. The whole thing will be jeopardised if the expenses are more than what I'm paying already. Until then, I need to have something that is now going to be pretty much constant, because for the last 2 weeks I've been eating as I was prior to breaking my ankle, which isn't doing my health any good at all, really. So over the next 2 weeks I shall be beginning to sort of get things usual. I'm looking for, there are 5 points at which I'll be eating a day. The first is when I first get up, and I'm looking for the jelly pots at that stage. The next will be breakfast, and I'm going to go for cereal at that point. Lunch will involve soup, and afternoon break will consist of some type of fruit. It's going to take a little bit to get that sorted out with shopping and stuff like that. So that will happen, that will be instigated at some point, sort of on and off, I think between now and and the end of that 2-week period with my walking, when I want it to be solidified sort of properly from there on. So those are the two things that I wanted to make absolutely clear to you, because at that point in time, in 2 weeks' time, we will be back roughly to where we were when we broke our ankle. And of course, I've said this before, and I'll probably say it again, I don't want this to be the return to the way things were, but used as something that I can then progress further with. Unfortunately, by that time, you know that the equinox will be upon us, and following that, my midweek trips to the allotment will cease for 6 months as we go into the winter, mainly due to time. I cannot get there early enough for it not to be dark, so there's no point in going. How much time I managed to spend at the allotment midweek between now and then is difficult to say, because I want to coordinate that with the other people who are going. I don't particularly want to go on my own just at this moment in time, so that's going to be, there's also a lot of other stuff that are going on with the windows that I need to be about for, so I can't guarantee that I will have another midweek, which of course means that the walking is going to be less anyway. I don't think I would want to risk doing that sort of walk after work at all in the next 2 weeks, really. So unless I can get transport and coordinate it like that, I have to admit that today ends any chance for the next 6 months of me going to the allotment midweek. But that would be due to happen after the equinox anyway. I have, you might have realised, put up some photographs from the allotment, and I hope that I will get a video update on that soon, maybe next weekend. I can only apologise for the fact that that is the one thing that has really suffered over the last 2 months with this ankle thing. That is the thing that I've slipped up on covering. Pretty much with MMA as well. You'll notice that the next predictions video is up, and that's going on, is going to be like that. And so I'm going to end now with the birthdays for this week. Apologies to those that I get a little bit confused and miss out possibly over the weekend. I still love you regardless. Here we go then. A very happy birthday to the following, and may they eat lots of cake, of course. We've got Mike Wilkinson, Rick Horn, Mike Weatherall, Rex Falk, Jacob Hay, Mike Pyle, Eric Larkin, Mark Weir, Eric Schaefer, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Ryan Jensen.